3, 2, 1.
I gotta have somebody looking over my shoulder, somebody guiding me, and I can't do it by myself at a moderate level. You might want to go back to the drawing board with putting that on your resume as a skill. And I think that's a big mistake people make, right? Because hiring managers get excited, recruiters like me get excited. Oh man, they know AWS Cloud. Oh man, they know data structures and algorithms. But they bomb when they get to the interview.
How are you doing, Bobby? Is everything well?
Hey man, I'm doing great, Joseph. How are you?
I'm doing so good, and I'm so glad to have you on with us. I want to definitely dive right in. So normally what we do is we start from the very beginning, because the beginning is a great place to start. Can you talk about the beginnings for you, where you were born, where you were raised, and your story growing up?
For sure. Basically, my story, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. Grew up in Fuquay Arena, North Carolina, which is just south of Raleigh. Really started in humble beginnings. I have an older sister, 2 parents. They're actually still married to this day. Very family-oriented background. I was actually a pretty good basketball player back in my day. I was a star player here in the state of North Carolina at Fuquay Arena High School. That afforded me an opportunity to play college basketball at Barton College. Earned a full athletic scholarship and also academic scholarship as well. And that was probably definitely the most exciting time of my being a student athlete and really playing the game that I loved. So went through my college experience. In 2007, we actually won the NCAA Division II championship. So that was definitely an outstanding accomplishment. I actually did that my senior year when I was there. So we actually had this really super cool and everything like that. So that was really great. So really, I was really a student athlete when I was younger in my life. Definitely my parents and my family always stressed the importance of academics and definitely bringing more to the table than just what I was doing at the time. Basically, I've been in recruiting, technical recruiting and talent acquisition for about 14 years. And really how I started off, right out of college, I went to a staffing agency. It was the small staffing agency at the time in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I was actually looking for them to place me in a job. And then basically the person that was the recruiter is like, hey, you should work here. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll give it a shot. And I actually started off in finance. I started off in finance where I was working in the back office for them and really just trying to really find my way in my career. And I looked over to the other side of the office and I saw all these people. They were like on phone calls. They were going to meetings and events, talking to people, and it seemed very exciting. So I was like, hey, what do they do? So I was very curious about that. And that's like, oh, that's the recruiting division. So I was like, yeah, I want to go over there. So really my career in tech recruiting started with me being like a recruiting assistant, right? Just working with the recruiters, the account managers on things they needed from an administrative standpoint for their clients and everything like that. So that's really how my career started. And it grew from there. My first half of my career was agency recruiting. Then the second half of my career is more corporate recruiting. And I got about 14 years of experience. I tell people I've been looking at resumes every day for about 14 years. I've been in interview debriefs, resume review sessions, all these different things, even set in interviews with people that were my candidates and people who weren't my candidates. And got a chance to see a lot of the different trends that make a candidate successful and allows a candidate to go far in the process. But I've also seen some of the trends that consistently make candidates fall out of the process early on. So I think I have definitely a good breadth of knowledge in that regard. I've managed recruiters. I mentor recruiters now. Right now, I'm doing some tech career coaching, doing resume breakdown sessions. And then it just grew from there. And right now, I'm the chapter president of the Black and Technologies Foundation for the Raleigh-Durham chapter. A large global organization. We're all about stopping the divide for Black people in underrepresented communities in the tech space. So we provide a lot of different resources, career training, education, career opportunities, and just a community. So that's a summary of myself.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching this video. This video is actually sponsored by Course Careers. So whether you're interested in breaking in as a tech sales representative, if you're interested in actually doing IT or digital marketing, not only do they have free introductory courses for you right now, go to the description and check that out, but they also have $50 off that you could get through me, Joseph50. That's right, $50 off through Joseph50. So if you're interested in getting into that course, any which one, whether it's, again, tech sales, IT, or digital marketing, look no further. Go down to the description below, click on the link, and sign up right now. What are you waiting for? You spoke about being in college and even your parents being champions of your education. Are your parents originally from Raleigh, North Carolina, or are they from another part of the world?
Yeah, so I'm from Fuquay Varina, which is just south of Raleigh. They are from that same general area of Fuquay Varina, Holly Springs. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've experienced a lot growing up. And so I understand why education is so important. Can you talk about what you learned in sports, though, that maybe was able to be something or transferable skills that you're able to take with you to the marketplace as a professional?
Yeah, 100%. So one of the key things, competition is inevitable, right? You're going to find yourself in your career in some way, shape, or form. You're going to be competing, right? Whether you're competing for an opportunity, you're competing for a promotion. If you're in some sales or metrics driven type of role, you're going to be competing with your peers, your colleagues, right? For positioning, right? But as long as it's healthy and it's friendly and it's productive, that's fine, right? You'll be competing against other companies in your industry. So competition is inevitable. I want to talk as well about competing with yourself, right? And really challenging yourself to grow your skills, grow your competency, and just grow as an individual. You're competing against the version of your old self, right? So you want to make sure that when you look in the mirror each and every day, that you're doing something each and every day, each and every week to push yourself forward. Competition is inevitable. Collaboration is key, right? Especially if you play a team sports, you're going to have to collaborate. It's good to have all the intellect in the world, have all the technical skills in the world. Those things are important, 100%. But the skill of being able to collaborate effectively with others, both laterally, both across and upwardly, I think it's a skill that a lot of people, we don't talk about. And that's going to be key. There's been plenty of times in my athletic career where when I was in high school, I was the star player. I was the guy. I played every position. I was the guy that people went to, right? And then when I was in college, I was more of a role player. But in any position I had, no matter what level I was on the team or what my role was, collaborating was of the utmost importance to accomplish a goal. So that's another thing. I think, and there's so many others, but just to give you one more thing as well. Another thing that I definitely learned is that when you talk about sports, right, it's definitely it's a good metaphor for life. Learning how to be resilient, I think, is the key thing. Life is going to have peaks and valleys. Life is going to have ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
And if you live life long enough, if you have a long enough career, no matter what you do, if you're in tech, not in tech, there are going to be highs and there are going to be lows. So learning it during the high times, not to get too high, right? But in the lows, not to get too low, and just staying in the middle. But I promise you, there's going to be peaks and valleys. And really, life is all about, your career is all about how you handle the valleys and the peaks when they come. So handling success, but also handling losses as well, and just being resilient and having the right mindset.
That is so good. That is so good. Competition is going to be there. You need to learn how to deal with competition. You need to learn how to collaborate with others in order to be successful. If you want to go fast, go by yourself, sure. But if you want to go far, go with others. And you have to have resilience. This is great. This is great. And I'm listening to your story, and it sounds like you definitely have been a person that has been resilient. To be in your field for over 14 years, that's not a small feat, in my opinion. So hats off to you. So let me ask you, when you first got into the field, let's break that down with competition. Can you tell me a bit more about the competition that you experienced or even witnessed working as a technical recruiter?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like in the first half of my career, like I was in agency recruiting, right? So agency recruiting is highly competitive, right? There's some agency recruiter roles where it's just straight commission. And then there's others where it's a base plus commission. And basically if I did base and commission, so you get a base salary, but then you make a commission off of hires that you make at your clients. So that was extremely competitive. And basically what that was is not only competing against other recruiters at other staffing agencies in the market that I was servicing, right? Because we were competing for positioning in the marketplace, right? We were competing for positioning with these customers in the area. So there was every day there was a new challenge. So doing things to set yourself apart with that. And also we were competing against each other. This is term this in the tech recruiting world. Anybody who's worked at a staff agency, they know, man, that's where you get your skin thickened a little bit, right? And we cuffing a little bit because I said so many days. It was like Wolf of Wall Street, man. If you ever seen that movie, like it's highly competitive. Those were definitely times. But I think the biggest thing I've learned about competition, even to this day, even like working in big tech as a tech recruiter, and even some of the other industries where, when you do corporate recruiting, you don't get a commission off of hires, right? What you're competing against the other big tech companies that are looking for the same people, right? And you're competing against yourself. Okay, I brought that up before. This is what I accomplished before. This is where I am now. This is where I want to go.
Yeah.
So competition is also internal, but it's also external. And no matter where I went, that it was evident, right? Competition throughout my life just looked different, no matter wherever I was, but it's definitely something that I had to embrace. It's definitely something that kept me sharp and kept me going. I think competition is good as long as it's healthy. I say competition, for me, there's people that I look at right now, and I don't necessarily call them my competitors because they're my peers and they're my colleagues, and I can throw some names out there, but I'm not. But these are people, when I see them, when I see what they're doing, it's inspirational. I don't want to take them down in any way, but it's inspirational because iron sharpens iron, right? And when I see what they're doing, I'm inspired. And I think that's what healthy competition is. When you can look at somebody as, you know what, they're doing the work just like I am. They're putting in the time just like I am. Let me work a little harder. It's a story of like basketball players, and I always have to go to that because I played basketball, right? Of like NBA athletes, they were talking about when Kobe Bryant was alive, God rest his soul. They were talking about, I was thinking I was getting in the gym early, but when I walk in there, guess who's there?
And he's done.
Yeah, done. Got a full sweating, had a full workout, ice in his knee, and then you look over, you like, okay, it's inspirational, right? So I think competition is good. Sometimes it can get cutthroat, but I think try to look for opportunities and try to look for environments and groups where you inspire each other, right? And iron sharpens iron for sure.